Pretty simple for the Aztecs football team. Win, you're in. The championship game is in your hometown. But there's a New Mexico Lobos team with a pretty good head of steam going in Albuquerque, and they'll have something to say about all that. Steve Perez, Louis Weiner, Aztecs All In, and Louis, what a week to be all in on Aztec athletics. A meaningful game during a Thanksgiving cornucopia of football, with some bouncing basketballs in Las Vegas thrown in for good measure.
Hey, Steve, happy Thanksgiving to you, and hoping the Aztecs football team doesn't lay a turkey egg like the men's basketball team did against Michigan.
And of course, we wish you and yours the happiest Thanksgiving. Aztecs football team, 9-2 overall, 6-1 in the Mountain West. They are taking on the New Mexico Lobos in Albuquerque, their last matchup as conference rivals before the Aztecs head off to the Pac-12 next season. Lobos one of three teams that trail the Aztecs with 2 conference losses, along with Boise State and UNLV. So they will be highly motivated, and their first-year head coach Jason Eck has them performing at as high a level as the Aztecs. They are fresh off a 20-3 throttling of Air Force in Colorado Springs. They are 8-3 overall, 5-2 in conference play. Should mention Air Force played that game without their best running quarterback in the conference, Liam Sarska, out with an arm injury. But the Lobos are the home team, with the head coach calling for as many of the Lobo faithful as can make it to University Stadium for a Black Friday football team that kicks off 12:30 p.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Network. Odds makers had the Aztecs 1.5-point favorite starting out the week. And before we get into our respective pieces, Louis, any additional thoughts?
Steve, the powers that be of the Mountain West Conference sent out an email to the media titled Mountain West Football Tiebreakers and Scenarios. It's not exactly a nice, relaxing read to enjoy during your holiday week. More like something the computer nerds put together under pressure from their college professor to make this make sense. And it does, sort of. Easy enough if the Aztecs beat New Mexico Friday on CBS Sports Network, and Boise wins at Utah State Friday in a nationally televised game on Big Boy CBS. Then the Mountain West Conference Championship is at Snapdragon Stadium, and it's a rematch, with Boise State visiting the Aztecs. After that, well, get your nerd caps on. If Boise State loses to Utah State and UNLV wins at Nevada Saturday, then the Rebels would come to Snapdragon. Now, if New Mexico beats the Aztecs, then this all becomes a muddled mess. If New Mexico and the Aztecs are the only 6-2 teams, unlikely, but go with me, then New Mexico would host the Aztecs in the championship game. If New Mexico, the Aztecs, and UNLV are 6-2, then New Mexico hosts, and it comes down to metrics between the Aztecs and the Rebels, because those two teams didn't play this season. And Steve, if it's a 4-way tie at 6-2, you might want to dust off your old DVD copy of Revenge of the Nerds, because even the Mountain West isn't sure what happens yet. So, Steve, let's get right to it. What did Coach Lou have to say to the media this week?
Louis, you could call it a meeting of brother Badgers, both coaches, Wisconsin alums. A Friday reunion in Albuquerque nobody asked for. Both cut from the same cloth as hard-nosed legend Barry Alvarez's. They are both from different generations, however. Coach Lou spent his time as a backup, and he caught his first college pass against Minnesota in 2007. If my interwebs sources are correct, I wasn't there. Eck graduated in 99, part of an offensive line that won a Big Ten championship the year before and beat down UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Their paths would cross briefly on the recruiting trail, but Louis downplays any symmetry beyond that. Coach Lou more or less shrugs off the shared DNA, aside from the obvious takeaway of emphasizing the bruising brand of college football that characterizes the Big Ten.
We both were able to obviously learn from a Hall of Famer and Coach Alvarez and our time there. I think there's probably some similarities in terms of our approach and our style, that the brand of ball that our guys play with the physicality and the discipline that you see. He's done a tremendous job everywhere that he's been, and it's no surprise that he's having great success there now. Not that close. He was there at Wisconsin before I was. We've gotten to know each other, obviously, through the recruiting trail and everything. We have crossed paths briefly. Obviously, know some of his staff members that we now have on our staff and everything, right? So, but we know of each other. I know we're more professional acquaintances than we are anything else.
So it sounds like he's saying that's a nice resume note. Now let's dance. We will refer you to prior episodes of Aztecs All In for more info on how the Aztecs got here. But as for the Lobos, they are on a 5-game winning streak starting October 18th with a 24-22 win at home against Nevada. They followed up with another win at home against Utah State and their best win of the season in Las Vegas against UNLV. The final in that one, 40-35. They followed that up with a 2017 win over Colorado State and that aforementioned Air Force victory. Like the Aztecs, the Lobos try to emphasize the run game on offense, and unlike the Aztecs, they do not have a dominant feature running back per se. They will also throw the ball a bit more, say 45% of the time compared to the Aztecs' 35%. And they have a much higher completion rate. Their QB, Jack Lane, is third in the Mountain West in passing efficiency. He completed 185 of 277 tosses for nearly 2,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. But he also leads the conference in interceptions with 9. His favorite target, Keegan Johnson, second in the Mountain West with 54 receptions, nearly 700 yards and 3 touchdowns. But just last week, the Aztecs held the top receiver in San Jose State's Danny Scudero well below his season average, and they also kept him out of the end zone. Also, Lobos have a tight end in Dorian Thomas who shows up in the conference top 10 receivers at 9th with 48 catches for 514 yards, 4 TDs. As mentioned, Lobos have no dominant running back, but do have a big play type in the backfield, Damon Bankston, who also returns kicks. He has 522 yards on 84 carries, 5 TDs. DJ McKinney, 408 yards on 105 carries, 6 TDs. They also have a few other running backs. Lane will also take off in the RPO game as well, and he's gotten into the end zone 4 times. Lobos also have a backup quarterback in James Lobstein, averaging close to 7 yards a carry.
They have an unbelievable front defensively. They have a whole host of issues that they present. They're really, really talented. They stress you out with formations. They trade you. They motion you. They'll huddle. They'll go fast. They have one-word calls. They have trickeration. They've returned multiple kickoff returns for touchdowns. They've, hurt teams in all phases, in all ways. I mean, it is a cornucopia of problems that I see when I turn on the tape as we go. So there's a bunch. I mean, they're well coached, they're disciplined, they're physical, they know their scheme intimately. Man, their quarterback is well prepared and gets them to premium looks. He does a really good job in the RPO game. So yeah, there's a bunch. There's a bunch that's there that makes this a really great opportunity for us to go compete at a high level against a really, really good opponent.
On defense, linebacker Jackson Eck, a sophomore, is the son of Coach Eck, leading tackler on the team, 115 total tackles on the season, number 2 in the Mountain West. Number 4 in the Mountain West, Aztec Owen Chambliss with 99. New Mexico safety Tavion Combs is second on the team in tackles. They have sack guys on defense. DL Keyshawn James Newby has 6 solo sacks on the season. He is tied for solo sacks with his teammate, defensive end Brent Carhu, and the Aztecs' Trey White and Ryan Henderson. For the Aztecs, it's stuffing 7 days of prep into a short week.
Coach Eck and his staff have done a tremendous job at New Mexico. They're in year one. They're a physical outfit. They're a disciplined club. They really respect and honor each phase of the game. It shows when you turn on the tape, and excited for the opportunity as we head down there on a short week to go have a really, really physical fight. We practice each morning, every single day, right? So we're used to going early. In terms of the 6-day prep, we still need to get 7 days worth of work in 6 days. The probably unique opportunity that we have is how we manage the work this week, given that this will be our 6th straight game in a row. They've been really, really physical battles that we've been in. And so just making sure that we're mentally where we need to be, physically we are where we need to be, and having the approach that we need to have relative to the work that needs to get done, yet still be ready to go play on Friday, and being smart with the work and how we need to get that done. So yeah, again, lots of caffeine, sleep fast, and maximize the hours that you do have. And then luckily we have a very mature team, right, that's been through this from when we turned around as we played Colorado State on a short week, learn from those lessons, right? And our guys do a great job knowing and understanding that this plan is literally going to be tinkered with, and there's going to be pieces of it that get put in place, pretty much all the way up until game day.
Aztecs record on the road, the Mountain West, darn near perfect, except for that clunker on the islands. And prior to that, it was Washington State in Game 2 that served as a wake-up for everyone to approach each and every game with a fresh set of eyes, their full attention, and an extra helping of humility.
Our guys have remained humble. They've remained hungry. In the second one, we had a lot of really good players for the very first time that weren't playing, and we needed guys to step into roles that they hadn't been accustomed to. So again, I think we've learned from that, and as much as I'd love to win every single game, I also recognize and understand that everything that has happened to this team is, in my opinion, truly working for us and allowing us to become the best version of ourselves. And we get to have the opportunity to do that again today and tomorrow, and all the things that continue to pop up, right? Like they're working for our favor, and we get to learn those lessons. And as long as we continue to pour into and have that learner's mindset and to grow, then, to me, they're not losses. I know they show up as L's on the record, and I would love for that to be a clean sheet, right? But I truly believe this team has embraced the idea that we either we win or we learn. And even in the wins, there's still margins that we need to chase. And obviously, when we've came up short, we've responded properly, and we have to continue to take from those lessons and grow as we move forward.
It's the Thanksgiving holiday week, Lewis, and the campus darn near deserted. Fewer media present in the interview room on Monday, and for a football team, it's all part of the drill in the football life. A football game with maybe a Thanksgiving feast fit in there somewhere. For the Aztecs, they will travel on Thursday. They will have a Thanksgiving dinner in their hotel. And being honest, Lewis says he will take ham over turkey. A controversial take, he says, but he did want to throw it out there. He also took a beat to acknowledge the ghost of Aztecs past in this year's quest for a conference title. Lewis says he will give a nod every time he passes the likeness of legendary Aztecs coach Don Coryell. Part of the legacy that Coach Lou feels thankful for, if you will, to be a part of.
The great honor to sit in the seat that I do and to walk by Coach Coryell's, statue each morning and ask him, like, hey, I hope we're making you proud. Like, if you got any wisdom for me, please let me know. Sometimes he talks back. Maybe that's just a lack of sleep, but I would like to think he's listening to me, right? And I think that's really neat to have the people that care the way that we do here. And I'm excited, for the continued support of the community to show up and pack Snapdragon when we get the opportunity to do so.
Lewis, to me, Coach Coryell's expression on the sidelines spoke volumes. Didn't even need to hear anything from him. I just remember one time being in awe of Coach Coryell at an NFL gathering where another old Aztec coach happened to show up, a guy named John Madden. And when he saw Coryell, Madden's face lit up. One of the happiest expressions I've ever seen on a man. The two old friends hugged it out, and I didn't feel worthy to try to intrude. But hey, Coach Coryell, if you ever want to visit us here at Aztecs All In, we're all ears. Now here's Lewis with more on the upcoming game from the players.
Steve, this Friday's game at New Mexico is as cut and dry as it gets. Wynn and this group of players will get to play a bonus game at Snapdragon Stadium and host the conference championship. This is the goal they've been shooting for since spring practice many months ago, and that they've remained focused on all season long. But being in this position doesn't surprise defensive lineman Sam Benjamin and running back Christian Washington, who met with the media on Monday.
Every week this past season has been a championship game, in our opinion, so nothing new for us. We're just going to keep our head down, keep working.
It's really nothing new, just being able to come each and every day and get +1 mentality.
All season long, Coach Sean Lewis has done a great job making sure his players focus on just the single game ahead of them and not look ahead. And it's no different this week. This past week against San Jose State, they could have been looking ahead to New Mexico, but they took care of business, and that's the same message Coach Lewis is sharing with his players this week.
I would just say he's asked us to just stay locked in and not worry about any outside noise, and just because the job's not finished. We haven't won anything yet. So we just keep a straight line mindset.
Steve, this is a tight-knit group, and these players know that this special time for them together is drawing to a close, and they want to make the most of it.
I think the biggest strength of our team has been our connection. Just being able to be so tight with the guys around you and trust everybody, and being able to count on each other no matter what has been the biggest factor for us, for sure.
I'll say brotherhood and leadership has been our biggest strength.
For Christian Washington, this game may mean just a little bit more. While he transferred to San Diego State this season from Coastal Carolina, Washington played at New Mexico for 2 seasons. In 2022, where he was an All-Mountain West team selection as a kick returner, and 2023. He was asked if there's any extra motivation for him this week returning to Albuquerque.
I would say there's a little bit of motivation to really show how far I've came and how far I've grown.
This New Mexico team poses a big challenge for the Aztecs defense, averaging 28 points and 375 yards a game.
I think they're pretty big up front. They work well as a unit together. It's going to be a good challenge for us as a D-line. Looking forward to see how we face that. I wouldn't compare them to anybody, but they're definitely a good unit, so it'll be a fun one. We're just focused on ourselves. We think that's what matters most, honestly. So just being able to focus on ourselves rather than worry about external factors.
Both Washington and Benjamin say the team learned a lot during their 2 losses, especially the first one at Washington State.
I really just starting fast, being able to start fast and being able to react.
I think coming off the first one of the season, we were probably higher on ourselves than we should have been, and that led us to not being focused on the work throughout the week. And I think being able to see that if we don't work throughout the week, we're nothing special. So yeah. I think that helped us in that way.
This is a Black Friday road game, which means the players will be spending Thanksgiving together. So while Washington and Benjamin are looking forward to sharing the holiday meal together, they have a difference of opinion when it comes to the Thanksgiving meal itself and their favorite foods.
For me, favorite dish is macaroni and cheese, especially when my mom makes it, or I would say deviled eggs, my favorite.
Honestly, I'm with Coach Lou. I'm not a big Thanksgiving guy. I'll take a steak over turkey or any Thanksgiving dish, really.
Steve, Benjamin and Washington say it would be great to host the conference championship game. But right now they say they've got to work for it, and that keeping the right mindset will get them through.
We promised you a heaping helping of bouncing basketballs in Las Vegas on this Thanksgiving holiday week, and this here is the spot for it on Aztecs All In. Keep checking back here throughout the week in this space right here for the updates and takes on the men's basketball team's performance at the Players Era Festival at the Michelob Ultra Arena. There's the game on Monday night against Michigan, a Tuesday night affair against Oregon, and a Wednesday game with the opponent to be announced. Okay, now I've borrowed the sports wire from Lee Hacksaw Hamilton to go now to Louis Weiner for the latest. And Louis, when I looked at the scoreboard on this first game, it was not good.
Steve, one thing the Aztecs wanted to make sure they did against 7th-ranked Michigan in their opening game of the Players Era Tournament in Las Vegas, and that was to get off to a fast start. Too many instances lately of the home Viejas crowd clapping way too long to start the game before the Aztecs got their first basket. And they did. In their first two possessions, after a driving layup by Taj de Gorville and a three by Miles Bird, the Aztecs led 5-0. And those are the highlights. They got outscored by 45 the rest of the way, losing to the Wolverines 94-54. According to the UT's Mark Ziegler, it was the team's most lopsided loss in more than 25 years since they lost by 48 to Utah in 1999. That ironically led to a 4-22 season that got Fred Trankel fired and Steve Fisher hired. The final stats highlight why this was a 40-point game. Michigan shot 50% and 33% from three. Aztecs just 27% overall. They were also out-rebounded by 15, 49-34. Michigan had its way inside, pounding the glass, and the Aztecs didn't have an answer. After the game, Coach Brian Dutcher took the blame, saying, quote, "When you're bad from the top down, and I'm the top, so I didn't have us ready to compete at that level against a very good team." The good news, Steve, is the Aztecs get to wipe this one away quickly, playing an Oregon team Tuesday night that's 4-1 after losing to 21-ranked Auburn in their first game of the tournament.
Louis, after that dominant win by Michigan, Coach Dutcher tells his players, block out the noise, focus on Oregon. They were last year's tournament champions. And judging by the first half they had against the Ducks on Tuesday night in Vegas, they did just that. Aztecs and their All-Reds, they start fast against the 4-1 Ducks. Aztecs out to a 51-41 lead in the first half. One final scoreboard note, Auburn also waxed by number 7 Michigan prior to Tuesday night's Aztecs game. That score 102-72. B.J. Davis paces the Aztecs in the first half, 13 points on 3 of 4 shooting, 2 of 3 from downtown, and Reese Dixon Waters with 10. As the Aztecs shoot 69% from the floor, they make 6 of 12 from three-point range. Bench points show the Aztecs' depth. 26 off the bench by the Aztecs, just 1 for the Ducks. They out-rebound the Ducks in the first stanza, 16-8. Turnovers even with 8 as the TNT crew remarks on a sloppy beginning in the ball-handling department by both sides. Jackson Shelstad of the Ducks keeps his team in touch with 16 points. You can hear the Aztecs fans in the background after the big plays, Louis. And a few shots of the fans show them having a good old time. So Aztec Nation well represented in Las Vegas over the Thanksgiving week at the Players Era Tournament at that Michelob Ultra Arena. Oregon shows a zone in the second half and tries to close the gap with some press off of their scores. Aztecs, though, counter with an 8-0 run early. They push the lead to 11. At the 11:52 mark, Pharaoh Compton with a jam that ignites the Aztec fans in the house. 67-55 the score then. Ducks with a chance to stay in it because the Aztecs have committed many fouls early in the half with their tough D. Oregon in the bonus. Miles Bird picks up foul number 3 at that point. Another Duck storyline is their big 7-footer Nate Biddle starts limping in the first half. His right ankle seems to be bothering him. He changed shoes in the second, but once he leaves the game sore with that ankle, the Aztecs use the opportunity to go to town. B.J. Davis with a career-high 21 points. Dixon Waters, a team-high 22 points. He scores from all over the floor tonight, showing off some new moves. All in all, it's a much better game out of the Aztecs as they draw even in the Players Era tourney. There's a transition jam by Bird. Then he commits his 4th foul on the defensive end, and there's still 9:20 left in the game. 68% shooting for the Aztecs at this point. They may cool off or not, but this performance showing the Aztecs' potential, Louis. They have an abundance of shooters. They can knock it down from all over. Dixon Waters, Davis, Elsie Harrington, Miles Bird. They've got bigs like Goon, Miles Heidi, taking up space inside, rebounding, scoring. Your long athletic types, Pharaoh Compton, Jeremiah Oden, and I know I'm leaving out some because there is so much talent on this team. With a score 88-67 with 5:40 left in the game, the announcers pronounce the rout being on. And Goon knocks down a three-pointer to finish the Aztecs scoring. He finished with 13 and 6 rebounds. Aztecs put up 97 against the Ducks, Oregon 80. And Reese on TV afterward says the team bounced back because the Aztec players have a lot of confidence, and they played with it on this night. They will have a chance to leave Vegas 2-1 on the tournament with a win on Wednesday. And the 4-1 Baylor Bears, the opponent for the 3-2 Aztecs final matchup, Michelob Ultra Arena, the venue. Before this final game, Louis, Michigan takes apart Gonzaga in the title game. Zags, 3.5-point favorites, but they fell by 40? In this game, it's who goes home 2-1 from Vegas, Aztecs, Bears? Bears came into this game stinging from a close loss to St. John's. Also, supposedly short-handed on the night, just 7 in the rotation, with 3 players out with injuries. But it was an early feast for Baylor against an Aztec defense that remains puzzling for its troubling inability to, defend. Aztecs trail by just 4 at the half. Michael Rataj leads the Bears with 9, 4 of 6 shooting. Aztecs have 3 who lead the team with 6, Elsie Harrington, Reese Dixon-Waters, and Tay Simmons. Bears with 16 points in the paint. They grab 14 boards. Aztecs 12 from inside with 12 rebounds. It's anyone's game in the second half. Bears hold the lead until the 13-minute, 47-second mark in the game. Taj Gorfield will knock down a three-pointer off a B.J. Davis pass, and it's 50-all. Aztecs will actually grab the lead 33 seconds later on a Davis finger roll, but after that, left wondering where the Aztecs defense went. Baylor played a better version and with more energy. And the Aztecs, despite their deeper bench, looked a little slow in their third game in 3 nights. Once again, Aztec Nation can be heard on TV as the true TV announcers remark on their strength of the fans in the arena, but they are eventually left with nothing to cheer about. Bears go on a 16-1 run. All of a sudden, the Aztecs cannot get a stop, a rebound, or come up with a loose ball. Bears looking just as tired, but their weak-looking shots are falling the whole time. No quitting the Aztecs, but the deficit by then cannot be overcome. Aztecs unable to muster points in bunches or stop the Bears from scoring final 91-81. Taunji Yusefo scored 18 for the Bears. Cameron Carr, 17. Obi Agbim hit 4 3-pointers, scored 16 points. Isaac Williams IV finished with 13 points. Dan Skillings Jr. added 11 to go with 8 rebounds. Miles Bird leads the Aztecs with 13. Harrington and Dixon Waters had 12 apiece. B.J. Davis had 10. Goon saw the floor for just 9 minutes. He had foul trouble early and did not score. Rebounds came mostly from Jeremiah Oden with 7. Aztecs will bank a reported $1 million NIL check for participating, but they are 3-3 on the season thus far. They have run into some solid offensive teams in their last 3 losses that have scored 80 or better. Aztecs a solid shooting team that forces turnovers, but coming up a few rebounds short on the boards and in second half scoring. In a post-game chat with reporters, Coach Dutcher acknowledged the defensive issues. Not typically San Diego State basketball, he says. Defensively, we keep lapsing. The Bears' strategy of pulling Miles Heide and Goon away from the basket, driving on him, and trying to get him in foul trouble was successful on this particular night. They played their system better than the Aztecs guarded it, he says. Still a talented roster that needs to gel. Dutcher calls it a roster made up of new pieces and some guys in different roles. Aztecs just running out of non-conference games to work out those kinks and find better schemes on defense. Speaking of which, Aztecs will host Utah Valley December 3rd at Viejas for a much-needed home reset.
That will do it for this Thanksgiving week edition of Aztecs All In. Thanks for spending part of your holiday with us. We will be back Friday following the Aztecs New Mexico game. Until then, for Steve Perez, I'm Louis Weiner. Happy Thanksgiving.